The San Francisco Giants lose out on both Arson Judge and Aaron Judge after Aaron Judge signed a 9-year, $360 million contract with the New York Yankees. Judge passes Mike Trout as the highest annually paid position player in Major League Baseball, making $40 million a year. Sacramento Kings start their 6-game road trip starting today in Milwaukee against the Bucks. You can listen to the game with the broadcast starting with game night at 3:30, and the G-Man has the call with tip-off scheduled for 5 right here on Sacktown Sports 1140. It's 3 o'clock and time for the Cattles and Ramie show with no Cattles and just Ramie.
It's the new spot for local sports talk in the afternoon. Cattles and Ramie.
I describe him as the best, obviously.
It's Cattles.
He throws it out there, speaks his mind. That's cool.
It's Ramie.
He's supposed to make people laugh. He's just an expert at it.
Cattles and Ramie. Sacktown Sports 1140.
Yeah, but you heard Verlad. It's a Cattles free edition of the Cattles and Ramie show this afternoon. Just Ramie on this side of the glass, just Verlad on that side of the glass, but more than enough because it's just a 30-minute show. I think the two of us together, combining our powers, Verlad, can get through the next 30 minutes and provide a good, entertaining radio show for the folks leading right up to Kings basketball here on Sacktown Sports.
We'll see. Still a lot of show to go.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out as we go along. Coming up on the show at 3:15, my old buddy from my Milwaukee days, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, is going to be here to talk Bucks and Kings, but we're going to talk a lot of Kings with Sparky because he knows the Kings inside and out in a weird way, and we'll explain why coming up at 3:15. Also, we got to jam a lot into this half hour. We got to get to the Aaron Judge news here in just a few minutes. Scott Boras is a crazy person. We'll get to that in just a few minutes. And obviously, I want to talk Kings and Bucks with you if you are so inclined. You can, you know what? I'm just going to keep it to the YouTube page today because it's such a short show. If you leave your comments on the YouTube page, youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140. I'll read some of those as well. And I want to thank Verlad. He brought in the Christmas tamales today.
Usually takes me about 4 or 5 tries.
I appreciate that. I do. You know, in a weird way, this is it's like a trip back home. I know I'm in like an Arab dude from Chicago, but tamales around Christmas time are like a blast from the past for me, Verlad, because growing up, I don't know if you had this experience at all. Did you have any Arab friends growing up?
No.
I found that Arabs and Latinos are drawn to each other.
Oh, definitely.
And there's a comedian, Mo Amer, hilarious dude. He has a sitcom, Mo, on Netflix. You should watch it if you can. He's an Arab dude, and he has a great bit about it. So growing up, like all my friends were Latino. So tamales around Christmas time, in a weird way, are like an old tradition for me, which you wouldn't think.
The best Mexican food I had outside of California was in Chicago.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. But enough. So thank you again for the Christmas tamales, and was it your grandma, your mom who made them?
My mom.
Thanks to Mrs. Verlad, is that right? Mrs.
Yes.
Verlad? Okay. Thanks to Mrs. Verlad. I don't know, man. There's a lot of different.
You're working it. You're putting it together.
There's a lot of different parental situations out there. You want to talk Kings? Get in on the YouTube page, youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140. MC Calcium says, you rock, Ramie. I appreciate that. I'll read all the compliments about me. But it's the Kings. It's the Bucks later tonight. Actually, just later this afternoon, right here on Sacktown Sports 1140 with, as you heard Verlad say, game night getting things started at 3:30. And going into this game, now, again, I came here from Milwaukee, and I drew a liking to the Milwaukee Bucks over my decade plus in that city. So a part of me, I'm lighting the beam. All right. I'm in on this team. All right. And I'm enjoying the Kings, but a part of me also looks at this from a Bucks perspective. And with that in mind, I can tell you it's a different mindset from that side of things than it has been in the past, because you used to look at the Kings on the schedule and go W. You know what I mean? When the way that the Bucks have been playing the last few years and the way that the Kings have been playing the last few years, you looked at the schedule and you just went, well, there's one in the win column. I don't know. And so then on the flip side of that, because now doing what I do and following this Kings team as closely as I follow, I'm wondering if for Kings fans, and Verlad, you could chime in on this. Are there any games that you look at and think, well, that's a loss? You know, like, for example, tonight, the Bucks in every power ranking that you see, first or second, playing some of the best basketball in this league. Giannis is not of this planet. Are there any games that you go into and you just go, well, we're not going to win this one? And are there any games now on the schedule where you can even be the big dog and look at it and go, that's a win? That's a win right there.
Second part, I feel weird saying this, but like, I don't think that there's a team that the Kings can't beat, which is weird to say out loud. Right? I was talking to Jay. The other day, we were looking at what the game so far is like. There's only been 2 blowouts.
Yeah.
And the Kings, like, even just like, oh man, that's not going to be a win. It's like they kept it close and they had a chance to win in a lot of those games.
I think that now, and it's you're kind of hunters and not hunted so much anymore as the Kings and as Kings fans. You know what I mean? And you're not the top dog. I'm not saying you're the top dog or the leader of the pack, but I agree with Verlad. Like there's not. First of all, there are teams on the schedule where you look at it and you go, that's a W. And I know we're only, how many games are we into the season? 25, 20, 24 games into the season? 22. I'm looking at the standings now, 13-9. 22 games into the season. So maybe too early to say this, but man, the Spurs, the Rockets, I think I'm going to go to the Rockets game in January just because I have a buddy who's in town. He wants to go, do up Sacramento and see what the Kings are up to. Maybe see a beam get lit up in the sky. You see teams like that come through town. And for me, I look at it and I go, that's a W for the Sacramento Kings. And I don't think even look, man, there's documented footage and pictures of me shirtless in the Deer District when they won the championship. All right. I have a little bit of Bucks fan in me, but even with that being said, there isn't a team, including the Bucks tonight in Milwaukee, that I look at and I go, there's no way they win this game. This is an L for sure.
And I think for teams, there's teams that actually have that mentality going in against teams like other teams in the NBA. If you're thinking, oh, this is a win against the Kings, you're in trouble.
You know what? I should have asked you to do this before the show, Verlad, and I doubt we still have it anywhere, or if you could find it very quickly. But this brings to mind that conversation on LeBron James' show, The Shop, where Draymond Green was talking about how there are just certain teams that you see on the schedule and you take them. He was very honest and open and basically saying you take them lightly. And the example, the first name that came to mind was the Sacramento Kings. And I don't think that's the case anymore for Draymond, for the Bucks, or for anybody else. I don't think you can count the Kings out of any game whatsoever or go into any game and just expect a loss. I see you scrambling over there, hard at work. Were you able to get it? You got it? Here it is. Here's the clip I was just talking about.
And I don't want to be a dog, especially if it's a Bron coming in, if it's a Giannis coming in, because them the games I live for.
Easy. You ready for them?
Easy. It's the nights I show up and we playing against the sorry mother.
It's the Sacramento Kings.
I can't play.
Who, the Kings?
The Kings stink. You name them. OKC right now.
OKC.
Like, oh my God.
That's what it was up until this year. And like I said, 23 games in, maybe it's too early to say. 22 games in, maybe it's too early to say this. I don't think that's the case anymore. And if it is, go ahead and take them lightly at your own risk and at your own peril and end up with an L at the end of the night. You know what I mean? Because this is a very good basketball team. Like I said, short show, so we got to cram a lot into this half hour, and I got a guest coming up in the next segment. We have to address the Aaron Judge signing after yesterday's Arson Judge signing by the San Francisco Giants to end. I mean, hey, not a bad pickup to go and get Arson Judge.
He's on fire.
He is on fire. But you wanted Aaron Judge, and unfortunately, that ain't going to happen. He's headed back to the Yankees on a 9-year, $360 million deal. And man, I know Giants fans who are listening to us are hurting, and you wanted this to happen. Hometown kid. I saw something yesterday, and who knows what's real and what's not on Elon's Twitter. You know what I mean? But I saw something yesterday about Aaron Judge's longtime girlfriend or wife, like high school sweetheart, they go way, way, way back. She said that is 10 years ago. He said, in 10 years, I'm going to be married to whatever her name is and playing for the San Francisco Giants like that. And Giants fans were seeing that stuff and they thought, and then you had the John Heyman report yesterday and you thought, man, this is happening. We're going to get the big fish in the free agent waters. And now he's going back to New York. And apparently, according to multiple reports, there might have been or ended up being more money on the table from the Giants and from the Padres, but Judge wanted to stay a Yankee. Cashman called him personally, according to Buster Olney, and they hashed the thing out, and he ended up getting at least close to what those other teams were going to be willing to offer. And so he's headed back to New York. But I'm here to tell you, man, like, it would have been fun. I'm not going to sit here and act like it wouldn't have been fun and like Aaron Judge isn't a good baseball player, okay? But at least 4, 5, if not more of those 9 years, you're going to be overpaying for Aaron Judge. The next 3, 4, 5 years would have been a lot of fun, and he would have helped you win a lot of baseball games. On the back end, man, you're looking at potential Albert Pujols type of stuff. And I don't think that's an albatross you want hanging around your neck necessarily. So I don't think it's, as long as they go and spend that money on, 2 or 3 players that you could probably get in the free agent market, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. Scott Boris's comedy might be the worst thing in the world. He held court yesterday, as he does at the winter meetings every year. And JJ, and we were having a text chat this morning. He said, was it you or JJ that said this is like a thing for Scott Boris?
I found out later. Yeah, it's like a regular thing for him.
Every year he has this much material.
I don't know if it's this much, but he has his puns.
My man showed up with jokes for every team in Major League Baseball. Here's a little highlight reel of some of Scott Boris's best moments holding court at the winter meetings yesterday.
Minnesota is the land of 10,000 lakes. Well, right now they're fishing in the ocean. I think the tom-tom drum is finally beating again. The Padres are far from midway. They're kind of see-the-world franchise, and they are used to making a splash. I think everyone about them understands the Sox without X are so. I think the Golden Gates and SF are far, high, and wide. The Mets are on a championship metamorphosis. Baltimore is they're birds of prey. They've feathered up. You kind of describe the free agent market like pools. You kind of have the infinity pool, a lap pool, kind of a lazy river pool, and then you have the inflatable pool. And I would say that the Yankees are definitely in the infinity pool, seeking great players, and there's certainly no shallow Hal in New York.
Boy, that was a long way to go for the shallow Hal line.
That took a little bit.
Oh, my goodness. How long do you think he worked on all this material?
I want to know, does he have writers with him?
He has to have writers, dude, doesn't he? But then again, it's all so bad that maybe he doesn't have writers. You know what I mean?
I cut one out where he's getting ready for one. And then
this is probably the best moment. Do we have the very awkward moment where somebody interrupted his delivery and he was like, "Oh, excuse me, I have a bad punchline to deliver." Here it is.
The Padres are far from midway.
So where's the play?
Please let me finish. They're kind of see the world franchise, and they are used to making a splash.
I've been there, man. I've been there. I do stand up on the side. That let me finish my punchline moment. Super annoying. Super annoying. It's the first time I've ever related to Scott Boris ever, and probably the last time that I'll ever relate to Scott Boris. Sacramento State football is hosting a playoff game this Friday. The Mackloff Magic is strong. December 9th. At 7:30, tickets start at just $10. Go to hornetsports.com Steve Sparky Pfeiffer from The Fan in Milwaukee. We'll talk Kings Bucks next.
The only place you'll find Harrison Barnes is Sacktown Sports.
Harrison now pulls up at the right elbow. King drains a 15-footer.
Hey, Sacramento, it's Harrison Barnes, and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
ATM Mortgage.
Hi, this is Jeff Charbel. Is it time to pack up and leave the Golden State? Whether it's a job change or you just need a change, ATM Mortgage can help with financing for just about any destination you have in mind. You can reach us today at 916-338-9400, 338-9400, or online at atmmortgage.net.
ATM Mortgage.
License under California CFL and MLS 223-4889.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you 24/7, with supplies and solutions for every industry, and access to product specialists ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Cattles and Ramie. Sacktown Sports 1140.
That's the show. No Cattles, just Ramie this afternoon. Taking you right up to game night here on Sacktown Sports 1140. That will take you right up to Bucks and Kings right here on these airwaves. And joining me now to talk about that very game from The Fan out in Milwaukee, my old stomping grounds, my old co-host, the one, the only, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. Spark Dog, how are you this afternoon, my friend?
Pretty excited, man. Getting ready. Head down to Fiserv Forum. Got Logan in the car with me with his Jason Williams Kings jersey on and his Kings sweatpants or whatever, ready to roll.
You know,
and then I do a Bucks podcast, Green and Growing podcast. You can get it wherever podcasts are available. Talking Bucks. Nathan Marzian, who's a huge Bucks fan, he has inherited the Kings as his second favorite team. I do another podcast, Kurt and Long, talking Packer football 3 days a week with Ryan Horvath from BetMGM Tonight, part of the BetQL network.
You're just here to promote
and him and
stuff?
his son are now rooting for the Kings as well. In fact, he's getting his son a Sabonis jersey for Christmas.
Wow. Kings fever is running hot, and that's literally like coast to coast because you're in the Midwest. Horvath, another mutual friend of ours, he's out in D.C. That's why I got you on. Like, I could ask you about the Bucks, but Sparky, you talk Kings with me as much as anybody, and you're following this team as closely as anybody because, long story short, his stepson Logan, who we just mentioned, is in the car for some reason, adopted the Kings as his team. And when I got the job, Sparky did a deep dive on the team to help your boy get ready for the new gig here. What is this thing real with the Kings? I'm asking my guest from Milwaukee. Is this thing real with the Sacramento Kings, Sparky?
I think we need to find out, is Malik Monk real or is he a fictional superhero at this point? That's what I'd like to know. Because if Malik Monk is real, because right now he's a bad man, y'all. Bad man. If Malik Monk is real and he can give you this all year consistently off of the bench, then I think the Kings have every opportunity to be a team to contend with in the West. Not saying they're going to go win the West, but a team to contend with in the West. Where are they? They're a top 4 seed right now, aren't they? A 3 seed or 4 seed right now. So
yeah, they're the 4 seed. They're the 4 seed, but they're 2 games out from the 1 seed.
Right. So I mean, just think about this. So they're still winning, and Red Velvet is in a slump right now. Mr. Herter's in a slump, and that's without him doing his magic. So once he gets going again and picks up the pace. I don't know if they would be active at the deadline, not active at the deadline, or what they're going to want to do. But the exciting part about this is they've done such a nice job of building this that it's not an old team. It's a young, up-and-coming team that, based on contracts, for the most part, should be able to kind of stay together for a while. And, you know, you talk about the Bucks and what they've got. No, you don't have a Giannis, obviously. I get that. But the key to the NBA and to this league is just consistency and keeping a group of guys together with some, pretty good players. You go back to the Rip Hamilton Pistons. They had some good guys on that team, but there was no dominant superstar on that team. But they kept them together, and they made that run. The Spurs, yes, you got, 3 arguable Hall of Famers. Parker, Ginobili, and Duncan. But again, they were kept together for a long time. And I think that's kind of what you hope the Kings can be with Mike Brown as the coach, that it's not just this year, that, 2-3 years from now, you're talking about being in the playoffs and getting on those runs like the Divac Kings used to do back in the day.
I was saying in the first segment of the show that I can look at this game from both sides of the coin, with all my time in Milwaukee and now being here in Sacramento and covering the Kings. And in the past, from the Bucks side of things, you'd see the Kings on the schedule and you go, well, that's a W. And from the Kings side of it, you would look at a team like the Bucks and going to Milwaukee, especially in that game, and you look at it and you go, well, that's another L for my basketball team. Do you look at the Kings from the Bucks perspective as a team that could come in and take down the Bucks, and it wouldn't even be that much of a surprise or a shock?
Yeah, probably. But at this point, I mean, anybody the Bucks face, you just expect the Bucks to win, to be honest with you. I mean, that's kind of where they're at right now. Now that they've got Chris Middleton back, who was out most of the year. He didn't have a great shooting night the other night, but he's a couple of games back, so that helps. They still have Joe Ingles, everybody remembers, from Utah. He'll be back in sometime in January, I think. That was their big signing of the offseason. So we'll see what he adds to them. But for the most part, I think every game the Bucks think they can win. Now, like you said in years past, you didn't see a way that they could possibly lose to the Kings, even playing their entire bench. And the other night, they beat the Hornets with their entire bench. They sat like 4 of their 5 starters and still won the game. So they're kind of deep, this Bucks team is right now. But if the Kings beat the Bucks, would I be stunned? No, I don't think I would be stunned necessarily. I think the biggest issue is going to be how do they try and contain Giannis from going to the rim? It's a bonus to get a couple blocks here and again, but he's not exactly a rim protector by any stretch of the imagination. And that's kind of really what this Kings team really needs, is Brook Lopez type center to really complete what they have.
We got about a minute left. You brought up Chris Middleton. Yeah, we got to get to Kings pregame coverage. I know. I'm sorry. We got to get to Kings pregame here. You mentioned Middleton. Is he? I know he's been back a couple of games. Are you getting a full dose of Chris Middleton tonight, or still on a minutes restriction? Really?
No. He'll play. Yeah, I mean, he'll get his 10, 12, 15 shots up, I'm assuming. Everybody looks pretty good for tonight. Wesley Matthews is out. He won't play. But everybody else should be good to go, other than Ingles. Like I said, he's not coming till January. But everybody else should play. So you should get a full squad of Bucks here. No Giannis resting or anything crazy like that. So I don't know, man. I would assume this game will be somewhere in the 115s, 120s would be my guess. Unless the Bucks, play hard on defense, then maybe that's not the case. Because I'll tell you one thing, Ramie Makloff, the Bucks at moments this year have decided that they were going to play defense and just smother and lock teams down immediately. Their defense is good when they want to play the regular season, so they don't play as hard as maybe they should. But we'll see what happens tonight. And don't forget, tonight is Giannis dad joke bobblehead night. At 5 Surf.
Well, that's big for us here in Sacramento. That's Steve Sparky Pfeiffer from the Fan in Milwaukee.
I want to light the beam bobblehead when y'all come up with that. I'm assuming that's coming at some point this year.
I'm sure there will be something, and I'll do my best to get you one. Follow him on Twitter at Sparky Radio. Thank you, Sparky. Say hi to the family for me.
Yeah, I interact with all these Kings guys, too. They probably think I'm weird from Milwaukee, but you'll be talking Kings.
You are weird.
Yeah.
Thanks, Spark. We'll talk again soon.
You coming to see my trees this weekend?
I gotta go, man. No, I'm not coming to see your trees. Goodbye.
Come on, man.
Me on the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. You can hang up on him. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Thanks to Sparky. Thanks to all of you for listening. Kings Game Night is coming up next. No Cattles, just Ramie for Chris Verlag. Saying thanks for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
You sure? You know we got your back like chiropractic. If that do you dirty, we'll wipe her out as in detergent. Now hurry, go on to the altar. I know you ain't but remember what I taught you. Keep your